The music industry is changing, and if you're still trying to promote your music like it's 2018, you're going to be left behind. Let's be honest, even 2 years ago, if you're trying to promote your music like that, you're going to be lost in the dust. Technology is changing so fast, and with all these free tools with social media, it has leveled the playing field. So, as independent artists, we don't need record labels anymore, number one. And if you think that you still need to sign to a record label, you are going to end up broke. We have to stop thinking just like an artist and start to think as a CEO. Don't be the worker, be the owner, be the business, because you are. So many times we look to a label or we look to a manager who wants to take like 20 or 25% of our income, when really we could hire a team to do the same thing and retain 100% of the business. And you know me, I love partnerships. I love working with other people, other producers, other artists. And sure, sometimes we split deals 50-50 on things, but to give them a big percentage of my whole business, then that means you're going to have to make the pie a lot bigger if I'm going to cut you a slice. And I'm more than happy to cut you a slice, because I'd rather have 50% of a watermelon than 100% of a tiny little grape. You know what I'm saying? But we have to stop thinking that we need to sign anymore. Because I remember when I wanted to sign with a label, it's because we wanted distribution. We needed to get our CDs in stores. If it wasn't for the label way back in the day, I wouldn't have blown up in Japan, because they had distribution to get the CDs in there. But I'll never forget, as soon as we went digital, one of the first things I did was I said, okay, you can have physical rights, but I'm going to keep digital rights. Right? I started getting a little bit more savvy. It's like I don't need you to press a button to upload the music online. I can do that too, but I do need you to put the CDs in the stores, right? I need you to have all those relationships, until in one specific deal, we just did a deal directly with the distributor. Right? Because we realized that these labels, it was just relationships. And when you start to see, they just have a relationship with that distributor. They just have a relationship with radio here, or they have a relationship with the booking agent. So we cut the label out and went directly to them, right? So that was a real old mindset of trying to sign with the label. Look, now I just upload my music to DistroKid, and it's worldwide. We sell the CDs and albums and vinyl right off our own online store with Shopify. Right? So we don't need them anymore. The other old way of doing it was slogging it out on the road. And honestly, that's one of my biggest regrets in my career, was how many shows we used to play trying to grow our fan base, trying to get in front of people. I'd play in bars, clubs, churches. Sure, some of the shows were amazing. We impacted a lot of people's lives, but I'm talking about at the beginning, when I was trying to grow, when I wasn't in front of thousands of people, when I was in front of like 5 people, 10 people, 50 people, right? But I had this mentality of like going and knocking on doors basically and going one-to-one. But then when I really learned about marketing and getting my brand out there, I stopped thinking one-to-one and I started thinking one-to-many. How can I reach 1 million people by doing one little thing? Well, introduce social media, right? All of a sudden, I'm reaching millions of people on YouTube, on TikTok, right? And so that was just a way to reach so many people. So I stopped thinking locally and I started thinking globally. Like even when we run our ad campaigns, like I don't just run to the United States and Canada, right? Like we'll run international ads, because my first success was in Japan, right? One of our songs recently that blew up, that's 10 years old and crushing it, is blowing up in Taiwan and China and Hong Kong right now, and just crushing it, right? In a completely other different world. And now they're creating content for us. So when we change our mindset and the way we look at this thing, we start to make decisions differently. Another old way, and I'm not saying you can't leverage it, but it's definitely better than just going and playing one person at a time, was radio. When we got our song on a radio station, sure, maybe let's just say we got it on a station that's in LA. Okay, it's playing throughout LA. That's cool. But and sure, that's a big city. But getting on these little small stations, that's not really having much impact. When we got on a whole bunch of stations, that's really impactful. But the problem was, like, I noticed that there was success at radio back in the day, right? But then when we tried to do a radio campaign for ourselves, we charted in the top 40 on Active Rock. And we're getting hundreds of spins. spent $40,000 paying the radio promoter and all these radio stations. There's no payola, but they need us to buy them a Sony PlayStation or buy them all these little things so that they can do giveaways or whatever. So it's kind of like this underground payola. But anyways, $40,000. I found out, yeah, we charted, but all the spins that we were getting, because they're called radio spins, they were all OVN, which stood for overnight spins. So they added my record, they added the song, but all the spins were happening in the middle of the night. So we saw no uptick in the streams, no movement on sales or anything like that. It did absolutely nothing. But on another radio campaign where we spent like a fraction of that, and we got on a Sirius XM station, okay, and all of a sudden they're playing the song and they've got it on heavy rotation. What's so powerful about a Sirius XM station is it's playing all across Canada, all across the United States and Mexico. Okay, so one radio play, and all of a sudden you're just like, boom. We're not talking about locally. We're talking about like globally here, playing across like a much wider span of people. So way more people are hearing about your music in a small fraction of time. So we want to think about those things that can have a huge impact, right? What are those small hinges that swing big doors for your career? Instead of chasing after these small little features or these small little influencers, you get one big influencer that's targeted or one big playlist that's targeted, and all of a sudden you're making huge impact. Now, personally, we don't really do radio anymore, or if we do, we only go after what matters. So I want you to make a list of those things, like what will really move the needle for me? What is really going to move the needle for me? If this one thing happened, then everything else doesn't matter, right? Like I shared about when we toured Smart, and before that, it's like, okay, I played 10 shows solo, and we were in front of 100 people. It took 10 shows to reach 1,000 people. I played one show where I was at a festival, and I'm in front of 2,000 people, right? So I'm in front of 20x in one night, selling 20x the amount of merch in one night because I played this one show and I focused on that, right? Like, have you ever put a monetary value on your time? Like, how much are you worth per hour? And why are you selling it out doing $5, $10 jobs when you could hire that out on Upwork, on onlinejobs.ph, Fiverr, right? You can hire out all these little tasks, these little design tasks or video edit tasks. Like, as artists, like you should at least be worth $100, if not $1,000 an hour, right? If you write a song or you play a show, like even $50 an hour, right? Whatever price tag you put on your hourly rate. Why are you doing lower level tasks when you could hire that out so you can do the things that are most important, that are really going to move your business over? Because your most valuable asset is your time. Guys, we can always make more money, but we can't make more time. One of my mentors pointed it out like this. He's like, okay, who wants to check for $1 million or $10 million? Just put $10 million. And everyone's like, yeah, I want the $10 million. And he says, okay, but the only thing is you have to end your life by tomorrow. And now all of a sudden, you don't want that $10 million anymore because you value your time a lot more than you value the money, right? But we've been tricked into trading our time into going after the money. We want to use our time or use our money to buy back our time, right? I like to do tasks in my music business where I do them once and I'm paid over and over and over again, as opposed to doing a task once and only getting paid once, right? Like I call this Swiss dollars. I like to do things that earn me sales while I sleep soundly. All my songs are spinning right now. My music videos are spinning. Once I make this YouTube video here on my Smart Music Business channel, it's spinning. My ebooks that I create, my audio books, my programs, these digital assets, they're making me money. I buy the rental property, the real estate, the renter's paying me. I did that once, right? But I'm paid forever for it. We got to stop trading our time for dollars, where we invest our time, right, and get our money working for us. It's a different mindset, right? It's a different mindset.